Shedeur, third string quarterback, fifth round pick, obviously has a massive spotlight on him because of who he is, the success he's had, how many people follow and like him, and also, the family he comes from is a very important piece of the entire puzzle because that particular family, the dad happens to be one of the greatest athletes to ever exist. Not just one of the greatest football players, just athletes of all time, motivators, businessmen, musicians, we'll even say.
Sure.
I mean, you name it, good at everything. So family is going to be followed. Him being a part of that, obviously going to be talked about. So him responding to Rex Ryan saying, I don't need to hear you talk. I don't need to hear your mouth. I don't need to hear you talk. I don't need to hear another word from a third string quarterback, which is not just Rex Ryan's thoughts. That is pretty much anybody that's in the NFL's thoughts, because it's hard enough to win a game already. This happened with Tebow. Okay, the Tebow effect, Tebow mania. Hey, we don't need added distractions because of a backup quarterback.
When Rex Ryan said he didn't want to hear another word from a third-string quarterback, the sports world exploded. Pat McAfee wasn't having it. The internet wasn't having it. And Shedeur Sanders? He turned the entire controversy into a masterclass in content creation without saying a single word. Yeah, you heard that right. Shedeur didn't clap back. He didn't post a paragraph. He didn't go off on social media. He just stayed silent. But that silence? That was louder than anything he could have said. And that's when the NFL world realized this wasn't just about football anymore. This was about image, perception, and power. Because when you're Shedeur Sanders, son of primetime himself, every blink, every move, every smirk turns into a headline. Pat McAfee summed it up perfectly. Being a quarterback is being the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar operation. You're not just throwing footballs, you're running a brand. And that's exactly why Rex Ryan's comments hit so hard. When Rex said, I don't need to hear from a third-string quarterback, he wasn't just talking about Shedeur. He was speaking for every NFL veteran who's ever said, we don't need distractions in our locker room. But here's the twist. McAfee didn't defend Rex. He laughed. He called Shedeur's silent interview hilarious, genius, and expert-level trolling. That's right, McAfee said it himself. Genius idea, expert-level trolling, phenomenal stuff. And suddenly, what was supposed to be a controversy became content gold. Let's pause right there. Do you think Shedeur was being immature or brilliant? Was it arrogance, or was it a young QB refusing to be disrespected by NFL old heads? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this one's got layers. Now here's where it gets deeper. See, Shedeur didn't start this. He was reacting. Rex Ryan's jab came after Dylan Gabriel, a rookie drafted ahead of Shedeur, got his first start for the Browns. Reporters asked Shedeur about it, and instead of giving the usual coach speak answer, Shedeur decided to troll the entire system. No words, no sound, just his presence. And the internet ate it up. McAfee called it what it was, content creator gold. But others? They saw danger. Because while McAfee's laughing, NFL executives are watching. They're thinking, do we really want a rookie who turns interviews into memes? It's the same fear that surrounded Tim Tebow years ago. Too much spotlight, too much noise. McAfee even said it. Life's already hard enough in the NFL. You don't need more bleep in your locker room. And that's exactly why Shedeur slipped to the 5th round. Not because of his arm. Not because of his leadership. Because of the perception that the Sanders brand might be bigger than the game itself. But again, as Pat said, all he needs is one team. One decision maker to say, I like his fire. Because in a league built on egos and energy, sometimes confidence gets mistaken for controversy.
Saying that Dylan Gabriel took a shot at Shedeur Sanders. Listen to the entire, this is 51 seconds, and then he says like a very cliche almost answer about how people in professional sports have described getting their first start.
I think it's funny because, I got a text from a good buddy of mine, and he sent me a picture of a fire station, and like, it's kind of like, why are you sending that, But when he sends it, he just lists the obvious, right? Like, doors are open, garage doors are open, like, things are ready to go, and like, they're just waiting on that phone call to like respond surgically. And like, just what a great representation of like the job I had and being ready for that moment. And I think, you know, I smile because it's like a moment you prep for and you are extremely excited for, but also got to realize that it's extreme focus, and that's what I've continued to harp on. But you wait for the perfect time, you know, you're gonna wait a whole lifetime. So for me, I've always been ready.
Well, Shedeur has a song called Perfect Timing. This is shot at Shedeur. It's like nobody's ever said like, hey, no perfect time's coming, or if you wait for a perfect time, it's never going to show up. It's like, I think he handled that amazing.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel has handled this entire thing perfectly.
Yeah.
When Dylan Gabriel finally spoke, people twisted it into something bigger. He gave what sounded like a clean, professional, almost cliché answer about being ready for his opportunity, comparing himself to firefighters waiting for the alarm to ring. But fans weren't buying it, because Shedeur has a song called Perfect Timing. And when Gabriel said, if you wait for the perfect time, it's never going to come, the internet erupted. Was he taking a shot at Shedeur? Was it subtle shade? Pat McAfee didn't think so. He said, that sounded like a cliché answer to me. Honestly, I thought Gabriel handled it perfectly. Still, that didn't stop the wave. Within hours, hashtags like #Shedeur versus Gabriel started trending. Two rookies, same team, different energy, and one viral storm. You ever notice how every time Shedeur does something, anything, the reaction isn't just football talk, it's personal? Like people aren't just debating the play, they're debating the person. And McAfee nailed it again. It's a gift and a curse. Shedeur's last name makes him marketable, but it also makes him targetable. No one's pulling cameras out for the Browns' third-string quarterback, unless that third-string quarterback is Shedeur Sanders. McAfee even joked, when I was a third-string punter for the Colts, nobody ever asked me a single question. That's the double-edged sword Shedeur carries. He's Dion's son, he's a star, he's an influencer, and in 2025, that matters. Because in the modern NFL, image is currency. And here's where things get really interesting. Inside the locker room, no one said a bad word about him. Not Dylan Gabriel, not Joe Flacco, not Kevin Stefanski. Not a single Browns player has called him a distraction. All the noise? It's outside. The media's eating, the fans are fighting, and the narrative's spinning, but the team? Silent. United. So the real question becomes, if his teammates are fine with it, why does the outside world keep trying to tear him down? Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's fear. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because Shedeur represents a new kind of NFL star, one that plays the game in the algorithm. Alright, pause again. What do you think? Is Shedeur bringing unnecessary attention, or is he rewriting the way NFL players brand themselves? Is this about football or fame? Let's hear your thoughts down below. McAfee said it best. He's covered differently. Everything he does is magnified tenfold because of who he is and where he comes from. And he's right. This isn't just another rookie quarterback. This is the son of Deion Sanders, a man who built his legacy on swagger, showmanship, and primetime energy. So when Shedeur flips a quote, trolls a reporter, or silences a mic, he's not being reckless, he's being prime son. But Rex Ryan? He's from a different era. An era where quarterbacks knew their place. An era where silence was respect and personality was punishment. That's why this feud isn't really about Shedeur versus Gabriel. It's about old school versus new school. It's about a football culture struggling to accept that personality isn't a liability anymore. It's a weapon. In today's NFL, the playbook isn't the only thing that matters, the platform does too. And maybe that's what scares guys like Rex Ryan. Because Shedeur's proving that even a third-string quarterback can control the headlines. Without a start, without a touchdown, without saying a word. That's power, that's brand, that's prime DNA. When Pat McAfee doubled down later in the show, you could feel the tension through the camera. He looked straight into the lens and said, Rex, come on man. That kid's doing what every quarterback in 2025 has to do. He's building a brand. You might not like it, but that's the game now. And that line hit different. Because whether fans admit it or not, Pat's right. The NFL isn't just about playbooks and film rooms anymore. It's about narrative. It's about who owns the moment. When Gabriel threw his first touchdown in that start against the Bengals, everyone expected a quarterback controversy to erupt. But Shedeur? He stayed poised on the sideline. No scowl, no slumped shoulders. Cameras caught him nodding, smiling, even fist-bumping Gabriel when he came off the field. Class act. And that's what McAfee loved. He said, "People talk about distractions, but that looked like a team right there. That looked like two dudes who respect the grind." Still, the sports talk world couldn't help themselves. Within minutes, social media was slicing it into two camps. Team Gabriel versus Team Shedeur. And let's be honest, we've seen this movie before. Young quarterback with charisma, confidence, and media magnetism gets pitted against the hard-working underdog, starter. It's the NFL's favorite drama script. Only this time, it's playing out in real time, with Pat McAfee as the narrator and Rex Ryan as the critic-in-chief. Now here's what most people missed. McAfee wasn't just defending Shedeur out of sympathy. He was making a point about evolution, the game adapting to its era. Every era had its showman, Pat said. Broadway Joe, Cam Newton, Deion Sanders. It's entertainment. Football is entertainment. That's why Shedeur's story resonates. Because love him or hate him, he moves people. He gets you talking. He forces you to take a side. And in 2025, that's the new currency of superstardom. Behind the scenes, insiders say the Browns' locker room actually rallied behind both quarterbacks. Gabriel earned their respect with preparation. Shedeur earned it with energy. Joe Flacco called him a spark plug during practice. Veteran receiver Amari Cooper told reporters, "He brings confidence into the huddle, you can feel it." So while the outside world painted it as chaos, inside the building, it was competition, the kind every great team needs. And that's what Pat highlighted next. He said, "You think Brady didn't feel pressure from Jimmy Garoppolo? You think Mahomes didn't learn from Alex Smith? Pressure creates polish." That's exactly what Shedeur's getting, polish. But Rex Ryan wouldn't back down. He went back on ESPN the next morning, doubling down. "I still don't need to hear from him. Earn your reps, then talk." And once again, McAfee lit the fuse. "Rex, you made a career out of talking. You were the loudest guy in every room you walked into. Don't tell a kid to mute himself just because the spotlight's on him." In a league that celebrates confidence, why is it only a problem when it comes from him? That line sent the internet into a frenzy. Because it wasn't just about Rex anymore, it was about the double standard. Think about it. When a rookie linebacker beats his chest, we call it passion. When a rookie quarterback does it, we call it ego. But Shedeur's learned from the best. His father turned criticism into currency. Every time they booed him, he built a brand. And that's exactly what Shedeur's doing now. Turning every headline into a highlight reel. McAfee even joked, "If I were his marketing guy, I'd tell him to keep trolling, it's working." But then he turned serious. He looked into the camera and said, "At some point, though, it's gotta translate into W's. That's the only language the NFL really speaks." And that's the truth. All the charisma in the world can't save you if you don't deliver on Sundays. Fast forward to practice this week, Shedeur's been taking more second-team reps. No drama, no noise. Just work. Reporters noted how locked in he looked. No jokes, no stares into the camera, just pure focus. One Browns insider said, "He's been first in, last out. The kid's hungry." That's the other side fans don't always see. Behind the social media flash, there's grind. Hours of tape. Late-night film sessions. That's what makes Shedeur different. He knows the camera can't protect him once the whistle blows. Pat McAfee closed the segment with a monologue that perfectly captured the whole saga. "Look, Rex is old school. I get it. He wants quiet rookies and humble press conferences. But we're in a new era. These kids grew up with phones in their hands, cameras in their faces. They know how to work the system, and that's not a bad thing. Because if you can handle the media storm, you can handle 3rd and 10 in Cleveland in December." That line went viral. And just like that, the story flipped. Suddenly, Shedeur wasn't the villain anymore. He was the symbol of the next generation. The fearless, outspoken, digitally native quarterback who doesn't just play the game, he owns it. Let's be honest, though, the criticism isn't going away. Every bad throw, every sideline smirk, every viral clip, it's all ammo for his haters. But that's what makes his rise inevitable. Because when the spotlight burns that hot, you either melt or you shine. And Shedeur? He's shining. He's got the name, the arm, the swag, and the understanding that football is both a sport and a story. He's not just trying to win games, he's trying to control the narrative. That's why Pat McAfee defended him so hard, because he sees the same spark that made primetime a legend. By the end of the week, even Rex Ryan softened. He said, "All right, maybe I went a little hard on the kid. Let's see how he handles it." And that's progress. Because deep down, even Rex knows, Shedeur brings attention, and attention brings business. And business is what drives the league. That's why McAfee's grin at the end of the segment said it all. He looked into the camera and laughed, "Hey, Shedeur, keep being you. Just win, baby. Just win." So here we are. A fifth-round rookie already dominating headlines before taking a single regular season snap. A locker room balancing old-school grit with new-school media savvy. A fan base divided, but invested. And a league learning, in real time, that the next face of football might also be the next face of content. Because this isn't just Shedeur versus Dillon. It's legacy versus opportunity. Silence versus swagger. Old guard versus new wave. And if history tells us anything, the new wave always wins eventually. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't look away. And that's what makes Shedeur Sanders dangerous. Like this breakdown? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join us every week here on Gridiron Insights, where we don't just talk football, we live it.